Hey, what's going on, guys, and welcome back to another video. So another day, another map guide, and today we're here with Arica Harbor, a Bad Company 2 map. I do know for a fact that a lot of you guys actually love this map, and I'm just one. And I know there are some things that you guys need to know, especially if you're a new player to Battlefield and you haven't played Arica Harbor before. This video is going to be for you. I'm going to give you all the tips and tricks that I know and the things that you need to know to be able to fully optimize your gameplay on Arica Harbor. So without further ado, let's just get started. We're here at A1, and what you should know about this site, first of all, is you're going to have 3 buildings in the contesting area, okay? So that's going to be 1, that's going to be 2, and this building right here is going to be. So whatever tip I have for you about this building is going to be solid for the other building on the other side, okay? First of all, in my opinion, you shouldn't be getting on top of the rooftops for one simple reason, and that is snipers. Especially if this is like the enemy's base, you can find yourself like outgunned by 2 to 3 snipers before you know it, and you're just dead. So if that's enemy's base especially, just forget about playing on the rooftops, okay? Go 1 floor down, and here you have lots of windows, lots of lines of sight, and you're even safer because there are walls around you and snipers are not going to be like getting you that easy. So that's what I recommend you doing. You can also even play down here, which just removes that element of surprise. You don't really have that height advantage over your enemies, and it doesn't really have any advantages over the top floors. So in my opinion, just staying here is going to be more relevant to whatever you want to do here. Going down here, this little building can sometimes be tricky, especially for people who actually believe you are in one of these 2 bigger buildings. So you're going to be a surprise here, especially with these little windows around. You're going to be just a head shooting out of a small window. So every once in a while, in my opinion, you better get in a building like this, small and less expected, and just get a kill or 2 from this one, and then go for like the bigger buildings, which are just a bit safer. Also, you can always check these buildings, which are actually overlooking the actual site itself. These buildings, especially in a Conquest 64 match, are not going to be like host to a lot of enemies. Most of the people either don't play in this site or they're here to contest it. So they're going to be in one of those 3 buildings. But if you're playing a different game mode than Conquest 64 and you're here to just completely clear the area, then you probably need to check out these corners and all these buildings around the side as well. But for Conquest 64, if there's no threat, just completely forget about it and move on to the other sites. I see a lot of people just getting down here to be able to get in this building, okay? The small building right here with 2 floors. Now, what you're going to do, if you're up here, you're going to save yourself a lot of time by just doing something like this. You're going to jump here, and that's it. And you can do that in reverse. So as you can see, there's a small ledge here that you can jump on, as you can see. So you jump on and just press space again, or whatever your jump button is, and you're going to be in here in no time. Apart from that, there's really nothing going on in A sector, and we're just going to move on to B sector, which has 3 sites and is the core of action in Arica Harbor in almost any given game mode. So I'm going to start with B3 because in my opinion, it is the most important site in the B sector. The simple reason for that is it overlooks B2 and B1, and in my opinion, that's very important, having height advantage over these guys, and just being able to spawn from here and get to those sites is like a virtue for any team. That's a big advantage, okay? So in my opinion, as long as you don't contest B3, you can actually have B1 and B2 secured. So that's very important. That's what I always do with my squad mates. We get over here, secure B3, and then go to B1 or B2. So the most important thing you should do here is being able to utilize cover. Now, these covers are all over the place, on the right side and on the left side as well. And it really depends on where your enemies spawn if you actually want to know how to utilize these covers perfectly. So there are basically 2 main spawn locations here. One of them is going to be around here, and it really depends on the flow of the game, okay? If, for example, you have a lot of people around here, you've got A sector captured, that is your base actually, and you've got a lot of people playing here, then the enemy is going to be spawning on the other side of the train. But if people do spawn from here, they're going to be either around here, down there, or just basically around that bus, or even back there. However, if the game decides to spawn enemies from the other side, they're going to be either down here around that building, or just behind here, behind the train wreck, just there or back there. That's going to be your spawn locations. Sometimes it just happens that it spawns people under the bridge, for example around here, but that's a rare occurrence. Most of the times the 2 sides of the objectives are going to be the spawn locations that you need to be looking out for. Now, these covers are just perfect for someone who knows how to utilize them. For example, just imagine you you put a Crawford Vulcan around here, just simply here. So you've got your whole foot covered. Everyone that comes up from there to actually capture the site is going to be dead in no time. That Crawford Vulcan, for example, is really, really strong in close range. Something else that you should know is that you can actually open up these pathways for yourself. Simple as that. And this is going to make your day easier when it comes to navigating this site. Now, you don't necessarily need RPGs and explosives to do this. You can actually use your DMRs, and if you've got a heavy weapon, that's going to do it. It's going to open up the path, and you're going to be able to just jump between one wagon to another, and it's going to really make it easier for you to come and go around B3. Another very important tip that you should know, and a lot of people actually overlook, is the ability to see the other side when you're crouched. So if I'm here, and let's say someone's behind that cover, it's going to be just easy as hell to kill them. And you can go ahead and check out all the corners simply like this, and you'll eventually find someone that you're looking for. Okay, that's going to be the outcome. You're going to find someone behind one of these covers, and then bang, you're going to kill them. Something that I do most of the times is if I see people stacking up behind that big cover right there, and they're actually spawning from behind there, what I'm going to do most of the times is I make some leverage for myself, get up here, and see if I can kill a few of them from here. And then if they're just like hard camping behind that cover, I'm going to just push them as soon as possible and just get on top of their heads. Simple as this. So that was a navigation tip I had for you. You can easily do that in this site, and it's going to be really beneficial to you. You're going to get some kills in no time, and that's going to make your day easier. All right, so let's move on to B1. We've got two buildings here. One of them is actually a half-destroyed silo, and there's a solid building on the other side. First of all, the spawn locations. Sometimes you literally see people spawning from right here, like here under the bridge, around here. Sometimes behind this small building here, or even around there. And sometimes behind this building, behind the other building here, right there, that big one, and behind those rocks. These are the spawn locations, sometimes even in plain sight. So you literally see people spawn here from this building. Now, what I do most of the times is I completely forget about playing around this silo because there's literally no cover. You're just a simple bait for snipers, especially snipers on top of that hill. So I'm not going to do that. What I'm going to do instead is that I get into this building, which has a solid structure. You've got cover, you've got small windows all over the place. And I just wait for people to spawn, start running towards this building. And they're just going to be dead meat, okay? Whoever is going to peek you from around here, you're head glitched with a weapon, aim straight at them, so they're gonna be just dead. That's my all-time strategy for here, and most of the times, like 9 out of 10 times, it just works because it's gonna be so hard for people who just spawned to be able to kill someone that is head glitched through a small window like this. Another thing that you should avoid, in my opinion, is playing on top of this building. The reason for that is there are always like 10 out of 10 times snipers on that hill. There are snipers on B3 if you haven't contested that site. There are snipers around A site that can actually kill you, so you're gonna be a simple target for these people. I wouldn't be making myself a simple target for snipers. And in the silo, there's literally just nothing going on, so I wouldn't really worry about here, and just try to avoid playing here as much as possible. Be in a solid structured building like that one, you're gonna be good to go. For B2 is actually a pretty solid site in my opinion. There's literally nothing going on here. There's a small building here, just a couple of containers, and that's it. Now, if I want to tell you where people spawn for you, most of the time it's going to be around here. Like 9 out of 10 times it's going to be this desert here, plain sight, right here. Sometimes if they're lucky, they're going to be spawning from here behind these rocks, so they have some cover at the beginning. And just completely this side of the map is going to be a spawn location for people. Now, in some rare occurrences, we've got some other spawning locations as well. For example, on top of the hill sometimes, or just behind here. It doesn't really happen a lot, but it just sometimes happens, and knowing it wouldn't hurt. So I wouldn't be playing inside this small building right here. Don't be this guy who just camps here waiting for someone to come and kill them, because this is literally the first place that people actually check. I wouldn't be around here. What I would do instead, depending on the flow of the match, if I'm being shot from, let's say, around under the bridge or around B1, so let's say the fight is between B1 and B2, this is going to be a solid place for you if you want some navigation, and if you want more cover, even if you want to like hide yourself with less mobility, you're going to be here, simple as that, and you're going to be shooting at whoever's coming at you. And if you're just waiting for people to spawn, in my opinion, this is going to be a good place, but you can't really have eyes on like the left side. So most of the times what I do is playing around here, simple as this, without cover, without anything. If I want cover, I'm just going to go back here behind the wall and it's going to be done. These containers right here also provide some good cover. They're solid, nothing's going to beat them. You can actually peek around here for people who spawn here. You can peek here for people that are trying to push you, and from the right side, holding silo as well. So as you can see, B sector is literally simple. 3 sites completely linked to one another, and the most important one being B3. Always remember that capturing B3 should be your priority, and then B1 and B2 are just easier to capture. And always remember, if you want to secure B2 and there are snipers on this hilltop, the first thing you should do is actually going up there, clearing there, destroying whatever radio beacon is up there, and then getting back down here to actually contest the site, because if there are snipers there, they've got radio beacons, their teammates gonna spawn, and they're gonna take back that B2 eventually, in a minute or two. So it doesn't really matter if you contest it or not without clearing the hilltop. So always prioritize that over contesting the site, and you should be good to go. Now let's take a look at C1, which is the final site here. C1 isn't a big site, in my opinion. It's actually really easy to play here, but there are just a few things that you should know about it to be able to play here effectively. Now the left side is just completely filled with containers. As you can see, this place is just like a maze. You can just run around these containers, switching sides, jumping around, and I sometimes like this because you can actually confuse people a lot better when you're playing here. But that's not always the case. Okay, so sometimes you might actually need to settle down somewhere, waiting for people to come out for you and then try to kill them, right? The best thing you can do in a situation like that is being around here in this building. Now let me tell you this, the enemy is going to be spawning from around here, from somewhere like this building. Then they might actually spawn from that building or around it or behind it probably. Sometimes they're going to be here behind the train, and on the other side they might as well spawn from all the way behind here to maybe even around this small building right here. So basically you need to be aware of everything if you're going to play here effectively. Now again, playing between these containers can be fun and stuff, but you don't really want to be here all the time. What I usually do myself is I get myself to a solid cover, which is this building right here, and through these windows, based on where my enemies are coming from and the knowledge I have about that, like there's the minimap and all those kind of stuff, I know where my enemies are coming from, and then I'm gonna hold them from these windows. If the enemies are like playing between the containers, I have small windows here. I can actually outgun them so easy. And if my enemies are coming from, let's say, around that building or the other one, I'm just going to be able to cut them down so easily. And sometimes, even if the situation is okay and I know my team's got it, I'm going to be up here, even holding around the site, see if someone's actually spotting from behind the train, and then I'm going to be able to cut them down easy as that. In my opinion, if you're playing around here, like between the containers, don't really stop for anything. It's going to be a run and gun situation around here, and if you're stopped, they're probably going to be dead. So just don't do that. So that's about all the sites, but if I want to give you some general tips here, in my opinion, literally everything works in Arica Harbor, and that's what I really like about this map. It has room for snipers, you can play DMRs, you can play SMGs, assault rifles, it doesn't really matter what you play. This map is literally just as versatile as allowing you to play whatever you want and still enjoy it, still getting kills. And that's a really positive point about this map. Now what I really recommend you to do here is placing mines for vehicles, because there are so many vehicles in this map, and the sites are actually close to each other. Especially in B sector, you have 3 sites placed right next to each other, and it's going to be so complicated for vehicles because there's like constant danger from all around them that they're not going to be paying a lot of attention to what's going on in front of them. Most of the times they're just going to go straight on mines and boom, they're going to be just dead. So using mines here will definitely pay off. In maps that have a lot of vehicles, generally speaking, playing engineer will pay off. And that's my recommendation for you. And that's about the video. Hope you guys enjoyed and hope this was helpful. You make sure to check out the playlist I've made for these videos if you want to see the previous maps. The link to that playlist is down in the description. You can go ahead and watch the previous videos. We've done the same type of video for all the base game maps, and we're starting to go on portal maps as well. There are just a few maps remaining, and this series of videos will be over soon, so stay tuned. The next parts are going to be coming in the upcoming weeks, and I'll see you on the next video. Thank you all guys for watching, and until next time guys, stay cool.